if you're Jewish, listen, I'm a Jewish believer in Yeshua. I believe he is who he said he is, not because of the New Testament, not Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Look in the Old Testament. Micah says he would be born in Bethlehem. Zechariah says that he would ride into the old into the old city on the back, the foal of a donkey. That's this weekend. That's what we're acknowledging. Yeah. Isaiah says he would be crucified, not a bone would be broken, that they would cast lots for his clothing. I could go on and tell you this, but one thing I want to read, Proverbs 30, verse 4, from the Jewish Book of Wisdom. This is not the Brit Hadashah, not the New Testament. It says, who has gone up to heaven and come down? Whose hands have gathered up the wind? Who has wrapped up the waters in a cloak? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's name? It says in the Jewish Book of Wisdom, Proverbs 30, verse 4, God has a son. And it's your job to figure out who it is. It's Yeshua, Jesus.
Hey, look out. It's Faith Talk Today. I'm Rick Probst. A beautiful Atlanta weekend. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hey, what a treat to snag this guy. Daniel Cohen, Emmy-winning news reporter. He is the news director at RLN, the Real Life network there. In fact, right now, he is outside of Tel Aviv. We're going to talk about his new show coming up and his time with his family coming up off the Sea of Galilee. And he has invited Ezra and I to join them. That's right. So we're in a plane. We're on our way. But first, thank you for watching our podcast and downloading them on your smartphone. We see the numbers. It is amazing. Hey, keep it up and share these, will you? Especially this one. This is going to be huge. Check it out, faithtalkatlanta.com. Daniel, how are you?
I'm doing great, Rick. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be here with you, especially this weekend. I mean, we're coming up on, it's Pesach in Israel, Passover, Good Friday, Easter, really incredible time of year, especially to be in the Holy Land, but to be here with you and your audience. You know, my very first job in television was in Rome, Georgia.
How about
Berry
that?
College, the land at 7 hills and 3 rivers and the mighty Coosa River, man. I remember it like it was yesterday. That was about 25 years ago. So
wow.
Anyway, good to be with you, Rick. Good to be with you.
That's beautiful country there. And then you made your way to San Diego, which is another beautiful place, then LA. And then you connected with Newsmax for a while, but now you are on a new network. It's been going on since, 2024, RLN. And you're the news director. Let's talk about you a bit. How did you get started in this crazy world of news correspondent, news anchor, et cetera? How did it happen?
Well, sure, Rick. Thank you for that question. First, let me just tell everybody, because I think it really sets the tone for the interview. I'm a Cohen, but I'm a Jewish believer in Jesus, Yeshua. Some people would say Messianic. I don't like to get lost in all the terminology. It confuses people. I just say, I believe Jesus, Yeshua, is how he's referred to in Hebrew. So I say, Yeshua is who he said he is, because there are Christians who say to me, oh, you can't be Jesus and you can't be Jewish and believe in Jesus. People have said that to me, right? Christians have said that. And I say, I hate to burst your bubble. Jesus is Jewish. So I can very much be Jewish and believe in Jesus, just like you as a Gentile or anyone else can believe he is who he said he is. The answer to your question about how I got into news, oh man, that's a longer story. I've always been bitten by the news bug, even since I was 12. My first job on the East Coast, I was in Florida for a couple of years for the Bush-Gore recount. San Diego for 17 years. Ron Burgundy, stay classy all day, was the morning. Then I was in LA, picked up a couple of Emmys. That's not what we do the job for. We just want to do the very best job we can. Colossians 3:23 says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart unto the Lord, not men. So I would just show up every day and do the best job I can. And that's what I'm doing now with the Real Life Network, which launched 2 years ago. It's Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, Pastor Jack Gibbs. It was God birthed something really huge in him. And I have to brag on Pastor Jack. I love the man. I love him. He speaks boldly, unapologetically for Israel. His church exploded during COVID. He continued meeting. Do not forsake the meeting of the brethren. I think there was a small dip, where you remember church attendance was, everybody didn't quite know what to make of it. But, look, he speaks unapologetically for Israel, and he preaches about Israel, and he connects those things. Churches in the United States, churches around the world, really, that are growing, churches that are thriving, congregations that are churches that are teaching and connecting Israel. It's all about Israel. God made a covenant with himself because no man can be in covenant with God. He said, I'll never leave you or forsake you. He said that he will protect it's his nation. And so I love Jack. They started the Real Life Network 2 years ago on Pentecost. Here it is 2 years later. We have 2 million users. Wow. I'd say subscribers, but it's free. Go check it out, reallifenetwork.com. And I'm hosting, and we're launching the Daniel Cohen Show here in just a couple of weeks on the network.
Love that. Outside of Tel Aviv, there he is, Daniel Cohen. Excited about the Daniel Cohen Show. I actually just signed up this morning, and it is free. And I just thought it was new stuff, but it's new stuff and more.
Sure.
And one of the latest pieces, the Tariff Sheriff.
Yeah.
I love it.
Isn't that great? Yeah. Isn't that great? Yeah. Trump is, obviously, everybody who watches and knows the news, Trump is the Tariff Sheriff. And boy, he sure set a bear trap for China and for Xi, didn't he? And they didn't see it coming. This is why Donald Trump was elected. This is what the people sent him back to Washington for. Somebody who would get scrappy, who would get in the sandbox, who wasn't afraid to tussle, right? Today we call him the elephant in a China shop, not the bull, he's a Republican, so we call him the elephant in a China shop. But the Tariff Sheriff, and things are, he said, the president said that America's sick, and sometimes it's been sick for years, being taken advantage of on all these horrible trade deals. China especially has offshored and hollowed out the middle class, and especially the working class. And Trump is restoring. And look, it's not perfect. I know that it's a bumpy ride.
Sure.
But full faith that America's going to be okay. Everybody who's watching their 401, if you quote Phoebe from Friends, or their IRAs, everybody's kind of looking, going, oh man, but don't sell. Now is not the time to sell unless you're 70 years old and you're retiring, and I get it. Yeah. But if you're young, keep your head down, keep working. I believe America's going to be fine.
I actually looked at mine before everything hit the fan, if you will.
Sure.
And listen, who knew, right? I mean, not just the trade stuff, but even as you rewind to see that when Donald Trump started to run again, with all the mess that happened over the years, I'm like, gosh, is this really going to work? And bang, there he is in office. And of course he's going to do what he said. That's what he did the first time.
Right.
But this trade, if you know your economics, you know all about tariffs and trade. I don't. I'm just a lowly announcer guy that found himself doing a show. And it's fascinating to find out just the whole tariff thing and the trade. And of course, one of the things, we stick like glue to Israel, don't we? And it's so critical that we continue to do that. And that's another reason why to check out the Real Life Network and the Daniel Cohen Show, which is kind of coming up pretty soon. We'll let you know how you can watch it and see it, and maybe even listen to it. But talk about the relationship, how critical that's almost a no-brainer, right? But how critical is this relationship?
Yeah, you nailed it, Rick. And I hope your listeners, or if they're watching on YouTube or whoever is watching this is, if you don't remember anything else, remember this part of the interview, okay? It's all about Israel. And I can give you scripture. I can give you multiple scripture. If you're a Bible-believing Christian, if you believe it is the living and active, breathing, word of God, it's all about Israel. Daniel 2:21, it says that God raises up kings and he deposes others. We have President Trump. As Christians, as believers, we don't worship President Trump.
Right.
But the election that took place in 2024 is a no-brainer. If you're a person of faith, there's not even a question. Are we going to vote for the person who can define what a woman is? Or are you going to vote for somebody who's transing kids, who is wrecked? We don't need to get into all of that. But you're right. It's all about Israel, Israel, Israel. President Trump understands the relationship. In fact, Mike Huckabee, who I got to walk around the Gaza border with right after October 7th, I walked around Kfar Aza, the kibbutzim, just literally weeks after the blood, the bullets, all that stuff, the grenades were gone. But we walked through this horror zone. And I said to Governor Huckabee, Ambassador now Huckabee, former presidential candidate Huckabee, show host Huckabee. I mean, the man's got a LinkedIn profile as long as mine. He's a super guy and somebody I'm honored to call a friend. And I said, Governor, I just call him Governor Huckabee, but thank you so much for being here. Just your feet on the ground in Israel after October 7th tells the world we support. You don't have to say anything. You don't need the microphone. You don't need just you being here says I support Israel. He said, well, Daniel, I do support Israel. I have been supporting Israel for decades. I've led over 1,000 people on tours to Israel. And the connection's important. When Trump was reelected, Marco Rubio, pro-Israel. Elise Stefanik, who he had nominated for the UN and then had to pull that back, unfortunately, very much pro-Israel. Remember, she called out the Ivy League university chancellors for their grotesque anti-Semitism, right? And Huckabee, pro-Israel. Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, pro-Israel. President Trump understands Israel. And like I said in the beginning of this interview, for you as well, you have to understand it's all about Israel. That's what it's all about. It's not like Ukraine. It's not like any other conflict. It's a spiritual war that's happening there. It's not just, oh, these people are like the Hatfields and the McCoys and their cousins, and they've hated each other for a long time. No, God made a covenant with Israel. Satan can't attack God. Do you have kids, Rick? How many kids do you have?
I have 3. They're grown.
I do too, 12, 10, and 8 years old, and my wife here. Satan can't attack God. So what does he do? He attacks God's kids. That's Israel. And that doesn't mean that the Jewish people and Israelis are better than anyone else. What it means is, again, God made a covenant to protect the nation of Israel. He sent his son, his only son, to Israel to reveal himself, to reveal his nature to the world. Of course, Satan wants to attack that. And so the conflict that you see in the Middle East is purely that. It's a spiritual war going on over Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, that and that alone.
Daniel Cohen, Emmy Award-winning news reporter and anchor. He's the news director at RLN News. Pretty soon, the Dan Cohen Show. Yeah. You can check it out. We'll tell you when. RealLifeNetwork.com is a great place to go to. Don't forget to download the app for your smartphone.
RealLifeNetwork.com. RealLifeNetwork.com. Yeah,
that's where you go to check it out. Now, I have a very close friend, Daniel. Yeah. And she calls herself Jewish. She's Jewish.
Yes.
And she's probably, well, she is. She's in her mid 30s. And there's a little bit of cloudiness or confusion as far as the friction, between Gaza and Israel. And on this side, because she's got a huge heart, she's for the people, of course, and we all are, right? But can you dissect that for us? Because there are people, mainstream media, you're going to get a watered down view and not get what the truth actually is. And it can be confusing if you don't know. Can you dissect that just quickly?
I'll make it real simple for you. Look, this war could have been over a year ago. It could have been over a long time ago had Hamas laid down their weapons and released the Israeli hostages. That's it. Israel didn't attack. Israel was attacked. Israel has never, ever attacked any of its Arab neighbors. Did you know that, Rick?
I did not.
In the listening audience, Israel has only ever responded after a horrific attack. And October 7th was beyond horrific. I was in the first group of journalists that saw the unedited massacre footage. And I promise you, I know people have seen it. They've seen it on Signal. They've seen, there's places where you can see the really, really awful footage. I'll tell you this, it's worse than you think. My friends high up at the IDF said, Daniel, you don't even know. Like they told me things I can't even repeat in this interview. What was done to the women, to some of the men, to the babies, to the children. These were Holocaust survivors, and these were seniors. So just remember, no one in Israel, no one celebrates what's happening in Gaza. And nor have I ever heard anyone say, thank goodness that this is happening and that Gaza has been reduced. Hamas brought this on. Hamas still refuses to release the hostages. Hamas refuses to lay down its weapons, and they can't stay in power. They must be removed. And Prime Minister Netanyahu, imagine this, Rick. Imagine your neighbor says, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill your wife, and I'm going to kill your children. And I promise we're going to do it over and over and over again. Who wants to live next to somebody like that?
Nobody.
How do you make a compromise with someone who one side says, we just want to live in peace, and the other side says, I want you dead? Where's the compromise? There is no compromise. Hamas must be eliminated. Root and branch must be thrown out.
Love it. Daniel Cohen, Coming up, the Daniel Cohen show. Give us a little, I don't know, a tease. Tell us what is it? An interview show? Is it commentary? What's it going to be like?
Yeah, Rick, sure. We're going to be just like we're talking here. We're going to be establishing our voice and our presence here in the Middle East. I'm an American and an Israeli. I'm the grandson of my grandma's a Holocaust survivor. We came here to Israel 4 years ago, bought one-way tickets. The Lord literally plopped us up and brought us here. He told me and my wife when my contract was up in LA, and the Lord said, I'm taking you to Israel. And I'm sending you and your family. And I had never been before. Have you ever been to Israel before, Rick?
No, not yet.
Come on. Listen, everybody, come to Israel. We finally got here. Like, why did we take so long? The Bible will come alive to you after you've been here. You have to do it. That's a dovetail. I want to get back to what you asked me about, though. And so I'm a grandson of a Holocaust survivor. We got a special humanitarian approval to come. The airport was closed. It was COVID time. I didn't have a passport, neither did my family. We just had my grandma who was about to turn 98 and had never met her great-grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
And so she met her great-grandkids at her 98th birthday party. Connected with, went through the citizenship process. My mom's Israeli. She lived here as a little girl. And then connected with Newsmax and now the Real Life Network. And I feel the mandate that I have is to just do something radical, Rick. This is the radical thing that I'm going to do. Ready?
Yeah.
Tell the truth of what's happening in Israel. That's it. Tell the truth. I have friends who are correspondents who their networks and the people that they work for, they have to call Hamas freedom fighters, militants. I said, excuse me, I will never call Hamas a freedom fighter. What freedom are you fighting for? These are terrorists. Let's at least agree on that. That's exactly who they are. It's exactly what they are. And so our mandate is to tell the truth from the land, whether it's uncomfortable or not. But we say to connect the news to the good news, because the good news of the gospel, this is the pages of the Bible have come alive. Even the last 6 months, the Hezbollah, the pager attack, how we're in a ring of fire in Israel surrounded by terrorists who want to destroy us. And somehow Hezbollah has been weakened. The Houthis have been weakened. Hamas has been weakened. The Lion's Den has been weakened. I could name terror groups all day long. And who is strong and who has emerged stronger? Israel is a ferociously strong Lion of Judah, protected by the hand of God. Iron Dome, all those things I believe are uniquely godly inspired. God didn't create Iron Dome, but he gave people the ability to create those things. So I say, don't mess with Israel. Don't mess with God's chosen people. Look at the track record of people who have tried to eliminate the Jewish people over time. It doesn't go well. And so I wanted to answer about your friend who you said was Jewish. Do we have some more time or no?
No, actually, we are out of time, but I would love to talk to you another time about it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Can I make it real quick? How about 30 seconds? Can you give me 30
seconds? Sure.
Listen, the reason, and this is if you're Jewish, listen, I'm a Jewish believer in Yeshua. I believe he is who he said he is, not because of the New Testament, not Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Look in the Old Testament. Micah says he would be born in Bethlehem. Zechariah says that he would ride into the old to the old city on the back, the foal of a donkey. That's this weekend. That's what we're acknowledging. Yeah. Isaiah says he would be crucified, not a bone would be broken, that they would cast lots for his clothing. I could go on and tell you this, but one thing I want to read, Proverbs 30, verse 4, from the Jewish Book of Wisdom. This is not the Brit Hadashah, not the New Testament. It says, who has gone up to heaven and come down? Whose hands have gathered up the wind? Who has wrapped up the waters in a cloak? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's name? It says in the Jewish Book of Wisdom, Proverbs 30, verse 4, God has a son. And it's your job to figure out who it is. It's Yeshua, Jesus. I'll leave it at that, Rick.
I love that. I've read Proverbs many times. I just wrote that down. I'm like, did I just miss that?
Yeah. That's
right
exactly
there in front of me. Thank you for sharing that with me. I know you're going to be busy ahead with the Daniel Cohen show, but we would love to have you back and pick your brain. We're excited for you. You're an amazing man, and we appreciate you communicating not only the information of what's going on there where you are, but with a heart full of Christ, full of Jesus, Yeshua. Thank you very much for doing what you do. The Real Life Network. You can go to reallifenetwork.com, download the app right there on your phone as you watch the ticker there. If you're watching, You can also check out Dan's Instagram, and you can follow him as well, all of his social media, and we'll make that available to you. Great. Love it. All right. Next week, another great guest. Appreciate you, Dan. We will be back. Have a great week. I'm Rick Probst. This is Faith Talk Today.